sometimes people will say to us, Abraham, and if we couldn't feel what you were talking about before, we might be having a different conversation with you than we are. A conversation more about take your time or collect more data and blah, 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 all of that. But the important thing to understand is that you've been putting into this vortex the things that you want for a long time.
Yes.
And there's no possibility that you're ever going to be in a place without contrast. But what you do about the contrast is everything. And most humans in the subject of relationships want to talk about what the other person is going to do in regards to contrast or in regards to resistance, not about what they are going to do. And you can't control what they do, but you can control what you do. So what we're talking about is the difference between flowing energy because you are in alignment and you're feeling the call, and reacting to what someone else is doing. Here's the thing. This is a really good way of looking at this. If you've got your train, let's say that it's really loaded down, it's got a really heavy cargo, and it's got a lot of powerful engines on it, and it's moving really, really strong and fast in that direction, and you tack a little opposing engine on it going the other way, this train is not even going to notice that engine pulling in opposition. One time, Jerry and Esther, with their big Prevost monster bus, towed their car behind it with the brakes on. The bus did not even know it was happening. Made no difference. It just turned that car into a sled and pulled it until the wheels were on fire. When there's enough momentum going this way, your resistance becomes less important, you see. But if you're going this way and 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 this way, then your resistance is a bigger factor in your life experience. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would focus upon those delicious positive aspects, of which there are so many. And we would not allow ourselves in time, it'll take a little practice, to be a reactor to the things that are bothering you. And one of two things will happen. In other words, it always works itself out. Because sometimes people will say, Abraham, they'll tell us about some relationship that they have, and they'll say, do you think I should leave? And sometimes we say yes, because the truth of it is that law of attraction, when you're looking for harmony and your vortex is full of things that you want, and this other person is really not a vibrational match to a lot of things that you want that are in your vortex, then harmony is doing this. That's harmony. But it doesn't feel like that in this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much longer do I have to do this? Because it's
forever.
I mean, okay. So with this person, for example, like
well, your question is, how long do I have to put up with the discomfort? For as long as you've got those vibrational patterns going on within you. For as long as you think that somebody else needs to make the change in order for you to feel better.
Right. But isn't that relationship, do you compromise? You know,
maybe you don't want as much of a domesticated relationship as you think you do.
I thought of that.
Maybe it's possible to have everything that you both want. So you want this, the other wants this, and let's say it's different. Well, the universe can accommodate both of you completely, and you can live happily ever after. But if you're looking over there at what that one wants and you're all bound up about it, or the other one's looking over at you and not liking it and all bound up about it. So who's bound up here? Who has the most angst about what the other one is doing? You or?
I think me.
Yeah.
Okay. So do I just allow and just continue?
So when someone says to us, should I go someplace else? And we say, yes, but you'll be taking yourself with you. You'll go and you'll take that tendency with you. So wouldn't it be nice to find a way to be less of a reactionary?
It would be great to be less reactionary. I mean, I'm very like all or nothing. Like I'm like, when I give fully, I give fully.
Deliberate creators are often that way. But along the way, sometimes, eventually, always, if you are to really be the happy being that you were born to be, you discover that you just cannot be someone who the majority of your vibration comes from your reaction to things, because it makes such a chaotic, wobbly world for you. You're just not going to find enough people to line up with what you want. You just have to be someone who lives in the world, who is dominantly controlling your own point of attraction, but isn't responding to the point of attractions that others are bringing to themselves. It's a sort of understanding that variety is a good thing, not a bad thing. You see, Let's just back away from you just a little bit into a broader view of mass consciousness, or we're talking about the collective consciousness of humans who are on your planet today. So many, in fact most, have not reconnected with the fullness of who they are, and just for that reason and that reason alone they feel more vulnerable. And then in their vulnerability, they become scrutinizers of what's going on around them. They were having reactions to what's going on around them. So they react to that, and they react to that, and they react to that. It's the conditional life that is not serving you very well. It's like, this condition is wonderful, and so I focus upon it, and it makes me feel good, and I love this condition, but that condition doesn't make me feel good. But since I'm a conditional person, because I've trained myself to be, because when I focus on things that make me feel good, I feel good, and so I've trained myself to be conditional, but now I'm faced with things that don't feel good too. So then I've got all this mixed energy going on, where if you are unconditional, which means it's not these things that you're focusing on first and foremost, it's alignment with source that you're focusing on first and foremost, and you've got that down, now you got a train that's going so fast and that is going to so many beautiful places that it doesn't matter what else you may hook onto it. It is insignificant by comparison with the connection that you've got going on.
That's true, because I just, the vulnerability thing, I was thinking like I want a title, and I read all about attachment theory. I'm like, he's avoidant, he has all these problems committing, and I want you to commit and tell the whole world, change your Facebook status so everybody knows we're together, give me some security here. But if I was...
But the very fact that you're asking for security means you're not getting it where you really get it, and you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You're looking for security in all the wrong places. You're looking for it through his behavior, and he's been there before. He knows he cannot jump through enough hoops to make you happy. Not for very long. And so, as others have tried to domesticate him, here's the thing. He wants to be domesticated. He does. He wants so much of what you want. He just doesn't want to be responsible for how you feel all the time.
That's true. I'm responsible for my feelings. He's responsible. That's a really great thing. But then you hear people saying, well, girl, then you need to get away from him because he's probably doing something bad. But don't listen to other people. Just align with source.
Well, they won't come around so much if you don't agree with them. Law of attraction isn't even, but it's always fair. If you've got some of that going on within you, then people with those opinions will be around you expressing those opinions to you all the time. But really, look at the alternative. Do you really want to say to someone, I need your undivided attention? We promise you, if he were to give you undivided attention, after a little while you'd say, I need my space.
I've had that before with other people, and that's true. And I think part of it is the more I'm getting better at consciously creating and creating joyous moments, beautiful moments that surprise me, that the universe comes up with such amazing ways to, surprise and delight all the time, that there's also a little bit of fear that comes with that fear of loss.
What you want to do is present yourself to the universe at large, and certainly to this person, as someone who is easily connected to source energy and easily and mostly feels good, and who is not dependent upon this one subject for your happiness. Because when you feel insecure and then you're depending upon this one subject for your happiness, what happens is they begin to feel bondage. And so as you present yourself, because that's who you are, as someone who can find joy here and here and here, who takes pleasure in this and this and this and this, and of course that, and even mostly in that, but not only in that. Now you've got this balance going on, and now there's no bondage that is being felt.
That's true. That's when we're closest. That's when he feels most.
And so that's what you meant. It's sort of a common thing that I want him until he wants me, and then I don't think I want him quite so much. And he wants me until I want him, and then he doesn't.
Yeah.
So then you get mad, and then he tries to reel you back in. And then in his trying to get you to come back, then you feel better. And we say, how sick is all of that?
It's super
In other words, none of that is what any of you want. What you want to be is someone who's tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and in love with life, all aspects of life, including that aspect of life. And so it's possible that you're not quite in that stable place, and that's why this relationship and the way it is unfolding is giving you the opportunity to get there. But when you get there, what you're going to accomplish through this is not him learning how to behave so that you feel better. What you're going to accomplish through this is you learning how to connect so that you feel better.
So that's the whole point. It's not about the relationship.
And then he'll behave. As will every other aspect of the universe. When you get in alignment with what you really want, and you're no longer offering any resistance about what you want, so you don't have mixed in your vibration what you want and what you don't want, which means you're getting some of all of it. When only what's in your vibration is what you want, then that's what comes to you all around. That's how you know what you've got going on vibrationally. How you know what your output is, how you know what your point of attraction is by what comes back to you. And the flaw in your premise is you think it's what others are deciding or what others are doing that is the main factor here. It isn't. It's what you're putting out that is the main factor. So you got to radiate security, which means you got to radiate your knowledge that you have autonomy, that you are connected to source energy, that you are invincible, that there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have, that everything is always working out for you, that you are invincible. As you begin to offer that vibration, because that's what you've been practicing vibrationally, then there's no monkey business going on in your vibration. And then what you attract from every relationship reflects who you really are and what you've got going on. So the most emphatic thing that you want to say to this friend is, I appreciate so much how your behavior lets me understand what I'm outputting. So if something happens and you don't like it very much and you want to blame them, really what you want to do is say, thanks for pointing it out. Pointing what out? What I got going on in my point of attraction. What I've got going on in my point of attraction, because every individual that you will ever meet is like the universe at large. They have the capacity to give you whatever your strong engine is asking for.
So when things are harmonious and it's great, it's because I'm in alignment with source.
It's because you're in harmony.
Okay.
But the flawed premise is I'm in harmony with the other. That's not how it goes. You're in harmony here first, and then the other harmony follows. And when you got this harmony going on, then even if somebody's having an off day, you don't notice it, and you don't make a big hairy deal about it, and you don't go to therapy to try to figure out what you're doing wrong. You just accept it for the contrasting step 5 beautiful clarifying moment that it is.
And I don't have to be anxious about where this is going and what our future is. I like to do that too.
Well, your anxiety is about your thought differing from the thought that your inner being has. And what anxiety is, worry is so interesting. That's you getting out there into the future where you have none of the resources of now. Because you only have the ability to connect with source energy in the now. So if in the now you're not connected to source energy and you're focused on something out there, there's no resources to cope. That's what worry is. Worry just means that you're trying to mess with the timeline. Worry just means that your thoughts are out there, but that your inner being's over here in the now. Your inner being's with you now. Now that doesn't mean you can't have thoughts of the future in the now that feel good to you. You certainly can. But, oh, now is so delicious. It's where all of your power is.